Oh, did you squat so I could be tall? Lake Mead.
Right?
Yeah. Dry camping last week. Now here. Unless we're somewhere else.
I have no idea.
We may be here, but we're somewhere else. Welcome to another episode. We are 10 miles southwest of St. George, Utah. This is not a bad spot. We're boondocked probably like a mile from I-15.
Yeah.
Like the interstate is right there. You can hear it. There's a lot of other boondockers here. Easy access. It's a mining road. I guess there's a mine down the road and you have these trucks coming in.
Huge trucks.
Huge trucks. Stone's throw from the border of Utah, and great access to St. George. We got in on a Friday, went out on Friday, explored Friday and Saturday, and then the weather kind of turned south.
Yeah.
And it has been raining for the last couple of days. It's snowed for the last couple of days all around us except for here.
Yeah. You can see the snow on the mountains all around us.
You can. It's really cool. The snow line is probably 400 feet above us, so we were able to escape it, which is a good thing. But before all the bad weather came in, we checked out a few cool things. We went to Pioneer Park. That was a cool little city park.
It is.
I guess right outside the city.
Yeah.
Lots of cool red rock formations, and we used to climb, so there was a lot of good like climbing spots there, and we were kind of messing around on the rock a little bit. In Pioneer Park was St. George Narrows, which is a very narrow slot canyon. We did not try to go in there. In fact, we were behind some other people that turned around and left.
And we asked them, have you ever done this before? Have you been through this slot canyon? And they said, well, yeah, we're just turning around now because our dog's getting a little freaked out. And they looked us up and down and they said, I bet 2 or 3 of you guys could fit through there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out who's number 3.
Who's the one that could not fit into the slot canyon?
Fit through.
That's funny.
What was Snow Canyon State Park? Is that where Jenny's?
Oh yeah, Jenny's Canyon. Jenny's Canyon is...
Hang on. I'm floofing.
Oh.
You gotta...
You ready? Do we need to get a fan?
Yes, please.
Makeup! Jenny's Canyon, part of Snow Canyon State Park. It does cost to get in there.
$15 for non-residents, $10 for residents.
Right. Big recreational area, lots of hikes through canyons. We checked out Jenny's Canyon, which is like this cool slot canyon.
It dead ends.
Dead ends at the end, but we happened to catch it at a time where there was only like one other group in there, and then they left and we had like the whole thing to ourselves. So it was a really cool thing to check out that canyon.
Yeah.
And we were going to go check out more canyons, but apparently dogs are not allowed in Snow Canyon State Park.
Yeah.
So we left. One of the things that we wanted to do when we came to St. George was to get a good hike done. And so one of our favorite ways to find a hike with the least amount of people is to just ask the locals. So they told us about a place called Red Mountain Trail. It'll take you to a place called Snow Canyon Overlook. But the locals told us to pass that. And so if you pass that and you keep going on the trail, you can cut over across onto this rock. And there's like nothing there. There's no trails there. There's no people there, and it's expansive, and the rock is like alien and foreign.
It was a really cool hike. When we got there, there were 2 other cars.
Yep.
In the parking lot on the trail, we passed 2 people. That was it. We had the whole place to ourselves. It is an unmarked backcountry trail. A lot of sand, a lot of rocks. It could be very easy to get off trail.
Yep.
But for the most part, we just followed the footprints and we were good.
We came through unscathed.
Yes.
Watch this. Oh, what is it, 8 o'clock?
It's cold o'clock.
Yeah.
It is cold.
8:11.
It's 40 degrees, but we wanted to get out early because it's a high of 76. We're at Red Mountain Trail. We're not sure how long it is, but we find these cool places because we find the local climbing and outdoor shop, and then we go in there and ask them, where do you hike when you're off work? So they usually go to where there's no tourists. That's what we found. But this is supposed to go to a cool overlook of Snow Canyon. It's on BLM public land, so dog can run off leash, get a cool shot. So we'll see how far we end up. No markings on this trail, so it's very easy to deviate and step off, but you can tell the trail because there's footprints.
Yeah, tons of footprints
everywhere. So if you stay on the area with the most footprints, you should be good to go.
It's nice fine sand too, so it's easy to tell where people have been.
Yep. Oh, hello.
That wasn't sand.
I was not sand. There's a marker there, but there's also a log down across, which usually means it's not a trail. And there's also no footprints past the log, so we're gonna keep heading down and see if we can cut over somewhere else where there's clearly even evidence of that. So we're off the trail now, we're bushwhacking. There's all the rock. So the problem is, I don't know if we're gonna be able to find our way back up to this trail. We let the trail have closed. Everything looks the same, so we need to know where to find our way back. This ground is crazy, and there's nobody here.
No, nobody.
Not a soul. It was one of the coolest hikes I think that we have probably ever done. I'll throw the GPS coordinates of where we kind of exited off on the side trail up in the description, and then you kind of have to bushwhack your way through like you saw in the video, but it's well worth it. Leave a trail of crumbs like we did in the video so you can find your way back, but if you're up for an adventure, definitely check that out. One thing that I like to do with the kids, we can give mom a break. The kids and I will go to private airspace museums. These things are like dying off across the country because they're run by like World War II fighter pilots and like pilots and people who are in the armed services and stuff. And so these people they're dying off. They're getting older and they're dying, and there's nobody left to run these places. So we love visiting these private airspace museums because all they want to do is tell their stories.
Yes.
They have so much information and they have so many stories. So we went to the Warbird Aviation Museum. It's inside the St. George Airport in the same area. It's free to go in, and they run off donations. And I highly recommend that you give them a donation because that's what they use to kind of keep fueling the place. And speaking of fuel, they were saying how expensive it was for fuel. Like it costs like $15,000 to $25,000 an hour to run some of these like jets because they burn the fuel so much.
Wow.
Yeah, so these places need donations to keep going. He had a lot of stories.
Well, and our oldest, Max, he's always been kind of a World War II buff. Anything war related, military related. He is all about it. And when they go into these places, these guys get excited to see a kid get excited about the things that they want to talk about.
Yep.
So
they feed off that.
Yeah.
For sure. Welcome from the future. We forgot one of the most important parts of the time spent at St. George. We drove all day. We're on our way to San Diego. We pulled over in Baker, California for the night. And then we thought we'd record this little segment because we forgot to tell you about the arrows all across the United States. Mysterious arrows pointing in mysterious directions. Turns out these arrows are from the 1924 transcontinental U.S. airway system that pilots used to navigate the country before radio communications became mainstream in the 30s. So we went to see 3 of them. We successfully saw 2 of them. One of them was up a very sketchy trail, Shinob Kaib Trail.
Yeah.
It's like you have to drive through a neighborhood to get there, but then there's like this mesa standalone plateau that you have to hike up the side of and then cross. And quite frankly, I don't even know how they got the concrete up there.
We should research.
We should research because
did that.
We turned around on that trail.
The wind was insane. It was easily 25 miles an hour, gusts to whatever. And I mean, you're on a trail that's, you know, just wide enough to walk on, and then there's rocky drop-offs. Fully
exposed. So we didn't want to chance it. We decided to turn back. This was actually after gaining like 700 feet in elevation in a very short amount of time.
We'd put a good amount of effort into it, so it was disappointing to turn back, but it wasn't worth it to push it.
Right. But then when we turned back and we started hiking down, you could see that like, okay, this is like a really high up sketchy trail. So anyways, that one we didn't get to see. And then the other one you could actually drive up to. I thought, well, this is going to be just an easy drive up to this place. You're supposed to drive right to it. There's 2 roads, I guess, to get up there.
I think there may have actually been 3, but at least 2. We chose the wrong one.
We chose the wrong one. So if you're going to go up there, I'll throw up a satellite map. Do not go on the 3rd one here, but go on the 1st one here. If you take the 1st one up, then it'll lead you right up to the arrow. We went up the 3rd one, and I was a little scared to drive the truck just because I'm not trusting of our truck completely to drive up this crazy thing. But anyways, at the very top of this one was one of those arrows, and there was a plaque that kind of told you all about this area or this region's history.
And this one was painted. They used to all be painted, but a lot of it, the paint has worn off the concrete.
There were upwards of 1,500 of these things spread throughout the country. Now there are probably 70 that are still approachable on foot, 19 of which are actually still in use in Wyoming. This program only lasted for less than 10 years before radio communications became a thing in the early 30s, and then these things were dismantled. So on each of these arrows, the square part would hold the tower, and there would also be like a shack or
like a shed or something.
Like a shed or something to hold the supplies, and that would actually hold the fuel to power the candlelight system, I guess, up top. And so these lights were visible up to 10 miles away for pilots that were coming in to deliver the mail. So really, really cool piece of history. We encourage you to get out to find some of these things. Google it. We'll throw up a link in the description. We'll show you how to get to some of these things.
And if you find them, let us know where they are, because we'd really like to see as many of them as we can. Some of them are on private property, so you can't get to them. Some of them have been paved over because they kind of run along major interstates and things like that, and they just get buried as things progress.
Time goes on.
So to find them is a treat. So if you know where some are, let us know, because we'd like to see them.
Absolutely. So anyways, back to the past. That's it. So we were going to go to Shinob, Utah, and finish exploring southern Utah before heading off to Colorado to have some work done on the rig. But funny story, one, the snow came, and like it is very snowy up there. The roads are probably fine, but the roads that we like to go on don't get plowed.
Right.
So they're probably covered in snow. And at the same time, the people who made the parts for the upgrade on the rig, they were going to ship it out Thursday. And then they said, well, why don't you just come here and we'll install it. So we are now no longer going to Kanab, but now we're going in the reverse direction to San Diego, California.
So that'll be interesting.
Very interesting.
Very last minute change in plans into a very busy city area, which we typically avoid at all costs.
It's not our element.
No.
We're gonna brave it though, because the kids are super excited.
They are.
Because the work that we have to have done on the rig is gonna take a couple days, so we have to be without the rig. So we're gonna be staying in a hotel.
The boys are excited.
They are excited. So that's gonna be cool. So next week's episode is going to be a must watch. Oh, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.